everybody here to our city council meeting.
Call the
At this
meeting to
time, we'll go
order.
ahead and call the
And
meeting
we
to
would like
order.
to have a
And we
quick
would like to
invocation and pledge
have a quick
allegiance. So if you
invocation and
could please
pledge of
stand.
allegiance. So if you could please stand. Let's pray.
Lord, thank you
Let's
for allowing
pray.
us to
Lord,
come
thank you
together
for
today
allowing
on
us to
this
come together
beautiful
today on this
December
beautiful December
evening
to make some important
to
decisions
make some
in
important
regards to the
decisions
future
in
of
regards
our
to the
community.
future of our
We ask for
community.
you to give us
We
a
ask for
clean
you
mind,
to give us a
and
clean
fill our heart
mind
with love as
and
we
fill our
make
heart
these
with
critical
love as we make
decisions
these critical
that are going to
decisions
impact the city.
that are going to
And I
impact
also
the
ask that
city.
you look over
And I
all
also
of
ask
those
that
that
you
are
look
sick,
over all of those that are
depressed, that
sick,
are out there in our
that are
community
depressed, that
needing
are
some
out there in our
help.
community
I
needing
ask
some
that
help.
you
I ask
reach
that
out
you
to
reach out
in their
to
hearts,
people in their
and help
hearts
give back to those in
and
need.
help give back to
So
those
Lord,
in
we
need.
ask for this in your name.
So Lord, we
and
ask for this
pray.
in your name,
Amen.
and we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, allegiance to the United States of America, United States of America, and to the republic for which one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, at this time,
Alrighty,
we
at this time,
visitors
we have
remarks,
some
and as
visitors
I call
remarks,
you up,
and
as I
there will
call
be
you
a
up,
time
there
showing
will
up
be
on
a
the
time
top, there's
showing
a
up on the
button to
top.
press,
There's
make
a
sure that
button
the
to
red
press,
button is
make sure
on,
that the red button
and
is
that
on,
way the people online
and that way the people
go ahead and
online
hear.
can go ahead and hear. And so we're going to start off
And
with
so we're gonna start
Desi
off with,
Delgado.
Desi Delgado.
Welcome, Mr. Delgado.
Welcome, Mr. Delgado.
If you would like to come up,
if you would like to come up,
some
we have
visitors
you down
remarks.
here
So
for
thank you
some
for being
visitors
here.
remarks. So thank you for being here.
It's on right now.
It's on right now, right? Okay, thank you.
Yes, as the mayor just said, my name's Desi Delgado, and I'm a resident of Los Fresnos. I'm a new resident, my fourth year, and I'm very happy living in Los Fresnos. I'm very impressed with the police department. Their reactions, their whenever you make a call, how soon they react to your calls. At one time, they did a wellness call on me, and I didn't even know what a wellness call was. And they come and knock on my door. And they called us and they wanted us to come and check on you. I said, well, who did that? I said, well, who did that? And they said, one of your friends. And I thought that was very nice. That was very nice. That's in place. Like I said earlier, I didn't know anything about that. But anyway, enough said about that. How many of you have driven from Port Isabel on Highway 48 to Brownsville? And have seen what's taken place there on the left-hand side, from east to west on Highway 48. LNG. That plant is going to be huge. And then of course over on the other side, there's SpaceX. And that being said, there's going to be a lot of growth. There's going to be a lot of growth coming to Los Fresnos, Port Isabel. Brownsville, all of the surrounding areas close by. With that in mind, a development like Los Fresnos Falcon Landing is going to be a good development, not only for Los Fresnos, but the whole region. It's going to bring families. With kids. And what better place to raise a kid than the Los Fresnos School District? I've heard good things about the Los Fresnos School District. We probably have the best school district in the Rio Grande Valley. And I believe it. And that being said, the subdivision that is fixing to develop on Henderson Road, Los Fresnos Falcon Landing is going to be a well subdivision in my mind, for what it's worth. It's going to have enclosed gated gates that only people that live in that subdivision are going to be allowed to go in. And what better place to have your kids safe and secure than having them in a protected environment? If I don't have any kids, but if I had kids, that'd be to lobby for the development of Falcon Landing, okay? Because as you can see here in Los Fresnos on Henderson, there's also another subdivision that's going to be built right across the street from where Falcon Landing is going to be developed. That's called Valencia subdivision. And that's going to bring in some more houses, you know, more families, more revenue for the town of Los Fresnos. You know, people are going to start going to Walmart, to Whataburger, and maybe some of them building new businesses. But it's a win-win situation, you know, having these subdivisions being developed. And I think Falcon Landing is going to be a good template for the rest of the developers, you know, because of the way they are putting together their subdivision, okay? And it's going to be good for the other developers to say, well, you know, I want a subdivision just like they got because
Excuse me, Mr. Delgado.
because it's going to be
Unfortunately,
protected.
yeah, unfortunately, we ran out of time. There was a
Okay.
5-minute time.
Well, thank you. And I think I've made my point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Delgado, for being here. We appreciate you. And so the next visitor's remarks we have is coming from Vanessa Castillo, who wishes to speak at this time. If you'd like to come up, I believe the mic is on and ready to go. Thank you for being here today.
Give me 2 seconds here. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so hi, my name is Vanessa Castillo, and I'm here to speak about the requested variances, not about the development. A variance is not a shortcut. It is not a tool for sidelining the inconvenient facts that arise when a development project meets the real conditions of a community. A variance is an exception to the rules that exist to protect the public, and an exception must be grounded in the full reality of what these changes create. Rows of denser homes are not theoretical. They alter drainage patterns, they increase runoff, they place new stress on streets that already bottleneck during peak hours. They affect emergency access routes and put additional demand on infrastructure that was never designed for this level of density. These impacts are not guesses. They are predictable outcomes in cities that approve similar variances without considering all relevant factors. This brings me to question. I believe every board member should seriously consider, have any of you actually driven on Henderson Road during the morning or evening rush hour? Have you tried turning onto Old Alice Road when traffic is backed up and buses can't even complete their turns? Have you sat in front of Los Guates Middle School and watched how quickly the entire corridor becomes gridlocked in the morning trying to get your child to school? Now, imagine adding more than 100 additional homes, more cars, more families, more daily trips, funneling into the exact same bottleneck. If we're already struggling with basic flow and safety, how can the current infrastructure possibly support even denser development? Given these realities, it is concerning when such variables are minimized or overlooked by leadership. How can the city manager disregard the very conditions that determine whether this development will be safe for the citizens you represent? Whether the development will be safe, practical, or sustainable? How can variances be granted without fully accounting for flood risk, soil saturation, drainage limitations, or the severe runoff we're seeing during every heavy storm? Ignoring these factors doesn't make the consequence disappear. It merely postpones them until they become more costly, more disruptive, and more dangerous. Responsible growth requires leadership grounded in evidence, community experience, and the physical realities of the land. not just the ambitions on a developer's blueprint. Variances are meant to safeguard that balance. They are not loopholes, and they are not mechanisms for bypassing accountability. They exist to ensure development benefits the community rather than overwhelms it. I am asking for planning rooted in reality, for decision-making that considers long-term safety, quality of life, and the resilience of the families who already live there. Those considerations are not optional. They are the foundation of responsible governance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time today. And at this time, we'll go ahead and move forward with Mr. Gregory Keeler, who is here today. Thank you for being here today as well.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Jeffrey Keeler, and I'm here to voice my support for the proposed Falcons Landing development. I grew up right here in Los Fresnos, then spent 34 years serving in the Army. After my career, I chose to return home, and I've been pleasantly surprised by the positive growth I've seen in the general vitality of our community. I studied landscape architecture at Texas A&M, so I can recognize a well-planned, sustainable development. Falcons Landing represents thoughtful design that will enhance our community. But beyond design, there's a fundamental economic reality we need to address. Housing prices across America are high because there simply aren't enough homes where people want to live. And clearly people want to live in Los Fresnos, and that's a good problem to have. When demand exceeds supply, we have two choices. We can restrict growth and watch prices climb out of reach for working families, or we can facilitate responsible development that creates opportunity. Falcons Landing is that kind of opportunity. It adds to our housing stock, brings investment to our community, and helps make Los Fresnos accessible to more families. I urge you to support this development, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for that. We appreciate your time as well. And going forward, I think the other visitors' remarks will be at the time of the action item. So we'll go ahead and move forward to our next agenda topic. We're moving on to consent agenda.
Total of
And it looks
8.
like we have a total of 8. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely skipped the presentation. I completely skipped the presentation. I apologize for that. So at this time, we'll have a presentation of Certificate of Achievement for Excellence for financial reporting. But before I do, Mark, I want to pass it on to you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is the single most thing that I'm proud of, that I focused on the day I got here. If y'all remember, back in the early 2000s, the city was basically bankrupt and things were really bad. Brownsville had made an offer to take over Los Fresnos, and it was about that close for happening. So financial security needed to be utmost concern. And so with the help of former councils, with y'all now, we have done that and always had good conservative budgeting, good conservative spending, and we don't have that problem anymore, which is good. And so this tonight is the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, which means that all the data is there for anyone to see and view. I wanted to introduce our finance team that's here. They're not going to like it because they just don't do that, but you need to see them once in a while. They are the foundation that helps, as well as department heads. They do as well too. But and then you as you budget and as you look at finances through the year, but they do it on a daily basis. And so I wanted to recognize our finance director, Pablo Garza. And if you could come up here, because I think the mayor's going to give you an award. This is the 8th year that he will be part of this award. We've had it for 17 years. He's been a part of that. We have Edith Ramirez, Monica Palermo, Gracie Gracia, Jasmine Leal, Sandra Cantu, and Dora Yanes. From
So this is the certificate of achievement that we're giving our financial staff here today. This certificate of achievement everybody in and around the community that Los Fresnos is all about risk and compliance, which is something that we hold very proud and near and dear to ourselves. And these people up here are the reason why we're giving out this award. And we appreciate as a board, all the hard work and effort that all of you have done. And I really speak for everybody on here. We're super happy and proud. So here's a certificate of achievement. There is a missing 2024. That's coming. So we're about to get that. So if you guys want to turn, you want the board here as well?
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. One more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcus, give these folks an extra bonus.
Yeah. I do want to mention department heads and each staff member, as well as you folks, when we're working on budgets and those kind of things that help put all this together. But we're very fortunate, and we couldn't be doing anything else if our financial situation was in trouble. And we're fortunate we've got that in order, and we can then work and try to serve our citizens better.
Thank you very much again. That was a great presentation. We appreciate you all being here today with us. So moving on, since we have a busy agenda item, moving on to presentation by Regional Water Authority. Mark?
Gabby, you want to mention, or is it Marilyn and Dr. Holloman, right? Yes. I'll let them introduce themselves from Southmost Regional Water Authority. For the audience that doesn't know, we are a part owner in Southmost Regional Water Authority. 2.28%. We also utilize Indian Lakes share, which is only 0.2, I believe, or 0.4, not much, but we utilize that water and supplement that water with the water we produce from our water plant. So they're here to talk about Southmost Regional and our the things going with it.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Joseph Holman. I am the president of the SRWA board. And actually, we have another board member here, Gabriela. Thank you for all you do for us. We could go to the next slide as the official clicker. Oh. Thank you. So we put this presentation together to remind all the citizens of the city of Los Fresnos what we're doing with this desal plant, what we're looking at doing in the future, and see if you as the commission have any suggestions for us or recommendations. So as you all know, we are currently in a drought. We have about 26.3% ownership. Brownsville is in stage 3 drought conditions. At last I checked, which was a few days ago, you guys are as well. So there, you have lots of restrictions placed on how water is used. We expect this to continue for the near future. This is not going away. If we go to the next slide. So what is SRWA? It is a desalinization plant. We actually pump water from the Rio Grande alluvium, the reservoir that's below all our feet right now. And that is slightly brackish water. We pump that, we run it through a set of filters, reverse osmosis filters, to remove the salt and other heavy metals that we don't want in our water supply. And we deliver that, at certain percentages to our members. And so, we started up really pumping water in 2015, or delivering water in 2015. All of us are, all the board members are appointed, and so I am a BPUB member. I'm on the Brownsville Public Utility Board, and I was appointed to this position by that board. If we go to the next one. This is the percentages that everybody owns of this current plant right now. And so, as you mentioned, 2.28% for the city of Los Fresnos and 2.2% for the town of Indian Lake. Go to the next one. At one point in 2023, we were actually providing all the water to the city of Los Fresnos. This was while you guys were rehabbing your surface water plant. And so that was something we were able to do. It's actually one of the great benefits of the regional approach of SRWA. But roughly, you know, right now we're providing about half your water supply. We go to the next one, please. And so just a little bit of background. The facility can produce 7.5 megagallons per day. We are optimizing this plant so that we can get a full 10 million gallons of water per day. And we're going to redo some wells. We're going to upgrade our microfiltration. That's kind of a step before we hit the reverse osmosis filters. We're going to upgrade all our instrumentation so that this resource will continue to be available for our region. Yeah. So we'll go to the next slide. And just to give you guys a background, I said we pump water. This is a map of where all our pumps are located. That is Rancho Viejo right there on the right side. But we have wells that are sunk about 200 to 300 feet down in the ground. This is important. It is brackish water that we're pumping, so we don't have to worry about competing with agriculture for the use of this water, because it is so much harder and so much more expensive to treat this water than just pump water out of the ground and water your crops. We did look at doing stuff in the Brownsville Ship Channel, and we found that that was completely unviable because the solids in the water change not only minute to minute, but day to day, hour to hour, month to month. I can look at the water chemistry, day one, and a year later it's not going to change because these ground wells are pretty closed up. So if we go to the next slide, one of the cool things that we do is we take the water, and there's this refuse. There's this extra water that we produce, and so it's hypersalinated compared to the water that we pull out of the ground. But compared to the ocean water, we're still way less salty than ocean water. So what we do is we put this in a drainage ditch, and we have this water go out to San Martin Lake. And that actually has created a resurgence of wildlife in the area because we're actually reducing the hypersalinity of that lake. So it's been kind of an extra added benefit. If we go to the next slide. So we're looking at expanding the plant. I talked about the optimization. So we're also looking at doubling, basically, the output capacity of this plant. However, that's $181 million. And so we haven't just said, hey, let's get the funds and do it. Yeah, let's take a low interest loan out, because we haven't wanted to straddle our ratepayers. Your customers or your citizens, our citizens, we don't want to straddle them with that extra cost. So we are looking at other ways to get this project funded. Now, what that means is this project will take time. We are trying to get matching federal funds. We're trying to get state funds. We are looking in couch cushions right now to figure out how to fund this project responsibly. And why does that matter? Well, that's going to take time. And so we wanted to make sure we brought this to all our governing bodies and inform you that this is in the process. This is how we're approaching the problem. But if there is a thought that we need this drought resiliency sooner, we'd like to hear from y'all. If not, we're going to continue going the route we're going and looking for any feedback. But so the total cost of both the expansion, the plant expansion, and then this optimization is $223 million. So I don't know what your water plans are. I don't know how long your current infrastructure is supposed to last. But this is something that we wanted to make sure we had a discussion about. If we go to the next slide. Oh, well, that's the end of my presentation, so I don't have to keep you guys much longer. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from the board? Anybody would like to know anything?
Yes, sir. I understand the needs for waters, right? Being in agriculture myself, understand the river levels and the dangers that we're getting to. But outside of that, you're asking for assistance or for us to assist you all in receiving or getting some of this 223 million?
We're asking for input. We're asking just what you guys think about what we're doing. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be today, but we want you guys just really to inform you of where we are right now, what we're thinking. And yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, please let us know. We just wanted to make sure we educated you guys and the public.
Well, we appreciate you being here. We understand that water is probably the number one most important resource that we all look for. And with 26% that you had up there, it's a little scary at times. And I kind of remind citizens that we're still in a water drought, even though we've seen a little bit of rain. And I know that this is not an easy topic to address, and it's not a cheap project to address. And so I commend you guys on the work that y'all are doing, and we look forward to the continued partnership. I know our city manager is working very closely to inform us of any changes, and we'll be happy to participate how we can within our boundaries to help. So we want to thank you.
I have another, have you guys discussed any of this with other projects going on in the area? You know, like USD Sal. I know there's other brackish programs going on about partnering with them or something like that.
Well, so we have, and I'll let Marilyn answer this one a little bit better than me, but one of the great things about SRWA is it is a regional authority. So this is not BPUB's plant. It is, you know, all of ours. And so we do have the ability, we do have the capacity to bring on more partners as we go forward. Marilyn can talk a little bit more about that.
If there's a cheaper way of doing water, and I'm Marilyn Gilbert, General Manager and CEO for the Brownsville Public Utilities Board. I'm also the Treasurer for the Southwest Regional Water Authority. So Brownsville is the owner-operator of the plant, and so we have monthly meetings. You all are welcome to attend and come to any of our presentations. We have them all streamlined. So with that to the question is, we have met with USD Sal. I personally have met with some of the members and representatives of the organization. We've met with other entities as well that are looking into various different desalinizations in the area. As a regional approach, I also sit in the Region M board, which for those of you who are not familiar with Region M, it is a state governing body for regional planning that encompasses from Laredo all the way down various numerous entities and different representatives. All of the plans that we have for the whole county and for the Webb County and for Cameron County, for Willacy County, they're all in the plan and they all feed up into the state plan. We're just completing our 5-year cycle. And so various different public entities have within their plan various different types of desalinization plant. What we mean by desalinization is brackish water desalinization. Dr. Holman did mention that we sit on an alluvium that's brackish water. That alluvium has an infinite water supply. I'm not saying infinite like, oh my God, it's going to run out. But according to the hydrology studies that we have right now, is that those studies have indicated that there's enough water to meet all of our needs. We started actually the first part of the plant in 2004. That's when our partnership actually opened. And in 2015, we had a second startup for the different microfiltration. So for the last 20 years, we've been monitoring the wells. The well system is fine. When we say by optimization, as time goes by, there's some degradation. We've doing some pilot studies on the various things and investments. We're looking at reducing the optimization costs based on new technology that we've uncovered, which one of your own members also sits and has seen. Dr. Holman and I have visited the plants and when they were doing some of the cleanup and scaling. And so that that means that we're able to improve the well system, the raw water supply into our system. So when we talk about why are we here, we're here because our plans for the Brownsville, notice that we don't need the SRWA until 2045. And so when you all mentioned, are we working with others? I think there's enough for everybody for different plants and different industries. Ourselves, we're looking at our existing customer base. We don't want to saddle our existing ratepayers with the cost of new development, so we want development to pay for development. So if there's another cost alternative or a different industry that's willing to pay for the costs of a true desalinization, by all means, we welcome that into the community. These are not intended to be projects. They're symbiotic relationships and various different things. The needs for our utilities are a little bit different. We have other projects that we're looking into to augment. We're looking into indirect portable reuse as part of our systems, adding an additional 8 MGDs. For Brownsville, what does that mean? 1/3 of our water needs comes from SRWA. And so basically what we get from SRWA, we're going to get that now from our indirect portable reuse that the state legislature gave us additional funding for about half of the project. We're also bringing water down, as you all, the same way you all do, from Amistad and the reservoir system. So we're expanding our reservoir system. So as surplus water comes into our system, then we're able to impound it in there, put it in there. We have the ability to pull out 40,000 acre feet. And so that acre feet is as surplus water, we push it into the Resaca systems and things of that nature. So we have a Resaca restoration project for different dredging. So we have a portfolio of projects that we're working as part of water supply strategy. I am not familiar with your strategy, but we're welcome to sit down with your city management and find out if SRWA is something we need to expedite. We will work with you. The entity was intended to have projects. So in other words, if Laguna Madre decides and say, hey, we want to come back because they're one of the originally founding members from 1981, they can run and propose a project and the membership can do that. So with that, yes, we are working with the various different entities as far as talking to them, but it all comes down to cost. And as far as I know, the cost of desalinization is much higher. Brownsville Public Utilities Board did run an actual pilot study at the Ship Channel in 2004, funded by the governor's office. And at that time, we found out that the SRWA was a better alternative for us as far as cost and operational requirements. So hopefully I answered. I said a mouthful there.
Thank you, that was
Yes,
very detailed.
Just
I just
a
want-
couple units, as somebody who does a lot on physics. MGD is megagallons per day, so million gallons of water per day. And then acre feet, imagine an acre covered 1 foot deep in water. That's what that meant. So anyways, sorry, go on.
I just wanted to congratulate you because I've seen what you guys are doing and trying to partner and trying to do stuff for the lowest cost of your customers. And I've seen PUV doing a lot better in that structure too, and trying to get now with SpaceX and all this industry coming in here. I think that that's a very important thing, that there's so many projects going on in the area. So I want to congratulate you for planning ahead, because that's what we need in this area, planning ahead.
I'd like to also say thank you for 2023. I know we did need a lot of your assistance, all of your the assistance we could get during that time. So we do appreciate it. I was coming in, just like you guys, we're trying to repair the motors and degradation that we have, throw new filter beds out, and so that does take time even for us. I can imagine, for you all and the capacity that you all have to deal with. So we're, yes, 50% now. The goal for us here in Los Fresnos is to be able to be self-sufficient 100%, so that we can still retain that water that you guys have for us, for any future emergency purpose, right? So we're trying to do our part here within Los Fresnos to help you guys off as well. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming, discussing.
Well, thank you again for that wonderful presentation, and we look forward to you folks getting together with us here in the near future on other ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All righty, so moving on, we got the
To receive
public
comments
hearing
from
to receive
residents
comments from
concerning-
residents concerning on the Planning and Zoning Commission's denial for a variance of the length of the cul-de-sacs within the proposed Falcon Landing subdivision exceeding the required maximum length of 600 feet. So at that point, Mark, anybody
Just
can
open it
come
up
up?
for the
Yeah.
public, and
Public's up
Can,
to come and talk
speak.
about the variance. Hi there. Hello, how you doing today? Thank you for being here today. If you could just state your name, please, we'd appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Ida Bibon. I live here in Los Fresnos. I live at 117 South Juarez. Henry and I moved 15 years ago. We built our home. At that time, we bought a lot from Mauro Development, and we had to have our house approved. So it had to be, I don't remember the square footage, but it had to be, I think, 2,000 square feet. It had to have 2 garages on the side. It had to have a sprinkler system. It had to be brick veneer. And so we built our home. North Juarez is a beautiful subdivision. South Juarez is a beautiful subdivision. So now, of course, Falcon Landing is going to be built. But when you're having to take grandchildren to school in the morning, Henderson Road is a small farm road. I drive that road every day. When there's a yellow bus coming, you better be sure that you stay on the right side and that you don't hit those mailboxes. When you get to the stop sign, you better be sure that there's not a bus coming, because if there's a bus coming, you either have to back up so that that bus can turn, and that highway is very busy. Now, there's going to be built 160-something homes, and there is only, for South Juarez, North Juarez, there is only one exit, and that's Henderson Road. It is a tiny road. There's no shoulders. I remember 2-3 years ago, we had to go before the board, before the city, because the bridge, there was something wrong with the bridge. It just didn't seem right. I mean, I'm a female driver, and the yellow line was not there, and I'm going, so we came before the city, and it was fixed. Both bridges are fine. But now, I think about what's going to happen in the future when there are 169 homes. There are probably going to be working families. There are probably going to be I don't know how many people are going to be trying to get out at 8 o'clock in the morning. Can you imagine a line of cars wanting to get to that main street, buses coming, children being picked up in the morning? I am so disappointed and frustrated at the idea of all these homes being built. I strongly believe that Los Fresnos should progress. My husband and I are both in different organizations so that we deal with progression for Los Fresnos. But when you're talking about what's going to happen to our area, I'm shocked that so many people are going to be dealing with this small farm road. There are no shoulders. Kids walk from the high school, and sometimes it's like, I used to walk on that street, I don't anymore. Because when there's a car coming, you better be sure that you have to get on that shoulder, and it's grass. So I want to know what's going to happen to that street, or to that farm road. Is it going to be improved? Is there a way for it to be improved? Because we're going to have to deal with that. I have to deal with that. The community, South Juarez, North Juarez, is going to have to deal with that every day. So it saddens me, because I tell my husband, I don't know what's going to happen. But when we bought there, it was because there was certain guidelines that we had to follow. I don't know the size of this homes. I hope there's not one garage. because it's going to be, and hopefully the comparison rate is going to be up to par. Because where we built, it was expensive, and we have expensive homes. So we would like for the area to stay that way. So I don't know what the subdivision, they say it's gated. Ours is not gated, but we have a beautiful community. And it can be gated. I'm not saying that's wonderful. But along with that, it should have, I would guess, requirements. So I don't know what type of size house is going to be built there. I don't know what's going to be done about Henderson Road, what's going to be done with buses, because kids have to be bused. And when you're driving on that Henderson Road, you better be sure you're careful. And can you imagine young, working people having to get to work every day? And we're not talking what? We're talking about a lot of people wanting to get out in one street. You better believe I'm upset, because we keep our house up to par. The subdivision is up to par. What is being built, hopefully, is up to par. I know that across that Falcon, they're going to build homes as well, and I understand that they went back and I don't know what they did, they made bigger homes. But I am just, I guess, upset, frustrated, more upset than what's going to happen to that area. And so I just hope that you all take that into serious understanding that it's yes, we are for prosperity for Los Fresnos. Yes, it's about revenue. I understand that, because taxes play a large part in that subdivision, because I know things everything's expensive. But at the same time, please take care of what we already have, so that people that are already there are not frustrated. Anyway, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Vivon.
What you just said. Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome. Is there anybody else on this public hearing that would like to say a couple of words up here in regards to the variance for the cul-de-sac?
I have another speech, but I don't know if any of you are going to go. I'm going to go.
Yeah, come on up. I mean, it's a public hearing. It's about the variance at the cul-de-sacs. Feel free to come on up.
You can speak, anybody can speak during the public comment, public hearing. You have to sign up for it? No.
Okay. So hello, I'm here again. My name is Vanessa Castillo, and I'm here to address the variance requests before the board this evening, specifically the variance request, and I think it's very important that we stick to that subject, right? So a variance is by definition an exception to an established ordinance. These ordinances were not created arbitrarily. They exist to uphold consistency, protect community interests, and ensure that all applicants, current and future, are subject to the same standards. When the board considers a variance, the guiding question is not whether a project might benefit from more flexible rules, but whether a legitimate hardship exists that makes strict adherence to the ordinances unreasonable or unpractical. The legal intent of a variance is narrow. It is meant to address unique circumstances tied to the property itself, not to enhance profitability, not to increase design flexibility, and not to bypass requirements that apply to every other developer. If a project becomes easier or more profitable by setting aside the rules, that alone does not constitute hardship under standard municipal planning principles. This is why the decisions made here carry significant weight. When a variance is approved without a clear ordinance-based justification, it establishes a precedent that invites future applicants to seek the same leniency. Over time, this erodes the uniformity and predictability that zoning regulations are designed to provide. It also exposes the city to claims of inconsistent or selective application of its own rules. As board members, your responsibility is not merely to evaluate the project before you, but to protect the integrity of the framework itself. The public relies on transparent, legal, defensible processes, one in which ordinances are upheld unless a variance is truly warranted. A variance should reflect any unavoidable conflict between a property's conditions and the ordinance. It should not reflect a preference for an alternative design or density arrangement. Diplomatically, I want to acknowledge the value of the development in a growing community. Growth is positive when it aligns with established policy, maintains fairness for all parties, and respects the balance set forth in city planning documents. However, growth that requires exceptions without a codified hardship that places decision makers in a difficult legal position, it blurs the boundary between permissible discretion and arbitrary deviation. The question I pose to the board is this: does this request meet the legal intent of a variance as defined in zoning practice, or does it merely create convenience for the applicant? If the latter, then approval risks weakening the enforceability of our ordinances and decreasing public confidence in the objectivity of the process. Upholding standards is not an act of resistance to development. It is an act of stewardship. It ensures that the rules we rely on remain meaningful, consistent, and defensible. If a project cannot meet the established ordinances as written, then the appropriate course is to reassess the project, not the ordinance. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to maintaining fairness and legal integrity in the planning process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else at this time would wish to participate in the public hearing could come on up.
My name is, excuse me, James Keeler. I live at 109 Henderson Road. I've lived there since 1978. Later on, I'm going to give you a little bit of history about this area and how it was divided and what the full intent was from the very beginning. But regarding variances, I was on the city council for 13 years. I was mayor for 6. There's probably not a project that doesn't have a variance of some sort or another. While there are zoning variances in the use of property is very strict, the width of a street, the depth of a street, the length of a street, how many corners, how far it is, these are often reviewed as what's best for this community and the subdivision that's planned. Variances are typical and usually with good reason and are to enhance the properties. Variances have been given. We have 3 major cul-de-sac variances. One where Councilman Gonzalez lives on, that's 1,800 feet. One that's Resaca Retreat, that's 1,500 feet. And South Quatis Drive, which is 1,000 feet, 400 feet beyond the a variance of a street with a 1,000-foot cul-de-sac, not in compliance with subdivision regulations, and a variance was granted. And there's reasons to give variances. There's probably no street in Las Vegas that have received more variances than South Quatis Drive. It used to be an 18-foot 2-lane road to serve the original Macomb homestead. Then the east side of that was divided into 4 lots. And that 4 lots, Ruben and I lived on one, the Geralds lived on the other. I don't know, you live on one of those? The third one in. Okay. They were divided. And there was no compliance with building a street. And that variance was given. And they said, okay, when the subdivided division all across the other side will be built, you'll have to build a street. Well, 10 years later, that happened. And then there was a big issue. Well, we're not going to pay for half of the whole street, the subdivider. And one side or the other, neither would pay for half the street. And it was going to die. But cities need tax base to progress. You got to improve the streets. You got to improve Henderson Road. You got to do a lot of things, but it takes money to do it. And sometimes you have to be practical. And you can't wish for the pie in the sky. Excuse me. You can't wish for the pie in the sky. You have to accept variances. And at that time, something that we put a lot of, as a builder and investor here, really got my crawl that the city, and I understand it, they picked up a big portion of that street. And neither side, the east or the west side, truly paid for that street. They paid a portion of it, but it was the way to compromise and build your subdivision that you could come live and enjoy. I'm glad you do. Also, we have rules in this city that at this time subdividers put in their own sidewalks. It is a general rule. For years, we've required people that build to put a sidewalk in. And when they finish their house, they're required to put a sidewalk. Well, one block got overlooked as well. And I'm not worried about the sidewalk, but we've heard an awful lot about buses and community and kids being in danger with running down cul-de-sacs. When you drive down South Cuates, the 9 houses on the west side, 2 have sidewalks. And they should have built sidewalks before they got occupancy permits. It was overlooked. I'm not condemning anybody. But sometimes we need to just settle down.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to speak on the microphone.
Excuse me. Sometimes we just need to settle down, not worry about perfection, and worry about a nice street that came into being at South Cuates. Even though they don't have seven of the homes on the west side do not have the sidewalks, only 2. And none of the homes on the east side have sidewalks. You know, but sometimes this nitpicking is the destructive force that doesn't allow our city to progress. And perfection is oftentimes the biggest enemy of good. And we have something very good for our city if we would just back off and let it happen. I'll talk more about that later. But I am for the variance in this particular case because this property, the whole design is to have less traffic, a private subdivision, minimize the flow of traffic, give people privacy, create that serenity, and it's really part of the design. And variances have been given in the past, and it was mentioned we ought to treat everybody alike. Well, once you start giving a variance, you also are obligated to consider it for the next developer too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing, any more comments? If not, we can definitely move on to the agenda items. I think we have a speaker coming. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm Dave Floodman with Your Home Texas, and I came here. I don't usually have to appeal. I guess I didn't do as good a job as I could have introducing this project to the neighborhood, but we're here. And the reason I'm here is to appeal the decision that was made by the P&Z board, because I think that they weren't informed. I never got a chance to actually share anything about the project with the neighbors and the community and everything else. So that's why I'm appealing. We always are concerned with the neighbors and how they feel about it. I've been a developer for a long time, so I built all over the country, and it's not, there's always people that are going to resist the change, for one thing, even if it's for something better, and I understand that. But I think it's just people haven't been informed properly, and we actually set up a meeting last week I think all of you all were invited to come last Thursday. We had prepared everything for a presentation to show you so you understood the project. But you missed a good party. So here tonight, I'd like to, can we make that full size there? So just so you understand, you know, we were attracted to the city because of the location, because of the school district, had all the things that the clients of this project, we believe, are really, well, we can already see it, that they're attracted to it. Your city has done a tremendous job of creating this school system that, what do you have, 4,000 students in a population of 8,000? That's, so that's why we came in. That's what we think is a big value to anybody that's going to be a member of our community. Jackie, can you? So just so everybody understands the layout of the project, it's going to be the city's first exclusive private gated community. It's the whole thing about it is private. We're on city water and sewer, so we're paying you for that. All of our members will be paying for that. But the city streets, I mean, our community streets are all private. We'll maintain them. There's no burden on the city to maintain all of these streets. That's done within our community. This property is really going to be the first in the whole valley, the whole region of what we're bringing here. A lot of our clients are high net worth individuals buying second homes. We do have a part of clientele. We're already selling homes in San Benito and Harlingen to SpaceX and LNG employees. You know, we think this will be more C-suite management that will live in here. We've got local doctors, and I heard a good story about somebody that grew up here and is going to be a retiring judge and already wants the best waterfront lot out there. So it is going to be very private. The HOA standards they're concerned about, we're very concerned about them. They'll be very strict. The people that can build in there for other people, we'll be building about half of the houses in there, but the other builders that come on, we're going to make sure they're well qualified and funded, and you know, we can't really have a project start and not get finished. So we'll have a lot of requirements to those people. Concerns about the traffic, I typically will look at traffic early on. I've actually been studying this property for 5 years, and I live on the island, so all of our projects are in the valley. I'm driving through about every day, and I've always pulled off and dreamed about this spot and designed it. You know, if you go back one to the design, if you'll notice these cul-de-sacs there do exceed the ordinance, but they fit the property. I really, when I see a piece of property, I can see it, I can lay it out. You know, we've had a lot of help people reviewing it. We've got one of the top engineers in the valley that designs for us, takes care of submitting everything, and I assure you this has gone through a thorough process up to this point. It's been, it's been approved as far as moving forward by the city's engineer. Everything. We invest a lot of money in making sure it's right. I came to the valley. If you check out our subdivisions, they're the nicest in every city. We've exceeded stormwater concerns, protections, and so all of that's, that isn't before you tonight, but it is going through the process. All we're asking for is a variance on the length of those cul-de-sacs in a private development. There are instances that were mentioned about this is a picture of Durango Estates, I guess, which is about 1,800 feet in length. Next, you'll see, actually on South Qantas, that's almost 1,000 feet. I think we're just over 1,000 feet on our longest. So this is a precedent right in the neighborhood, you know, actually where our concerned neighbors live. And that variance was given because it fit the piece of property. And the streets are wide enough, it's very safe. Ours are at least as wide, I think a little wider. And they're curbed and sidewalks on both sides, so very safe environment for everybody. Next would be down here in Resaca Retreat. That's 1,565 linear feet. And that's just south of our property across the Resaca. So there's plenty of precedent. It fits into the character of the community around us. And so we'd just like you to reconsider and approve that variance.
Thank you, Mr. Floodman. We appreciate you being up here. And I'm not sure if there's anybody else who would like to speak at the public hearing, so we can move on to the other agenda items. Sure, go right ahead.
I just feel like, you know, my name is Vanessa Castillo once again, and I'm here. But the cul-de-sacs that they present up there, it's one subdivision, one street. You're talking about one subdivision with 3 cul-de-sacs, asking for 3 different variances. So I think that clarification needs to be clear. You're talking about one subdivision, South Guates. You talked about Resaca Retreats. That's one subdivision, one cul-de-sac. You're talking about one subdivision with 3 different cul-de-sacs. I just want to make that clear. Thank you so much.
May I add a few comments to?
Go right ahead. It's a public hearing, so.
South Quatis Drive is part of a bigger subdivision that's already been approved, all to the west of South Quatis Drive. There was supposed to be a side street that wound around. It was not put in. But it's part of the subdivision with not just one cul-de-sac.
You want to speak on the microphone, please? That way people online can hear.
I'm sorry, it's part of the subdivision with 6 or 7 cul-de-sacs to the west of it, if it were done that way. And it's already been approved for that construction. So we're not talking about whether it's 1 or 6 or 7. The principle of does it really cause problems is not really, it doesn't really affect it. And frankly, you can really argue that a cul-de-sac creates potential problems for emergency service or whatever. But there's no magic number. If you argue that there's problems, possible problems, it can be a problem on a 400-foot cul-de-sac, just like an 800-foot cul-de-sac. Just the going from 600 to 607, as their first cul-de-sac does, doesn't create the problem. They're inherent. But accidents can happen on through streets, fires happen on through streets, and there can always be a mess when you have an emergency. But the cul-de-sac isn't, or the length of it, isn't inherently a problem that's going to create emergencies. And once again, the very subdivision, that's only one cul-de-sac of what would have been many if it had been completed properly and the variance not given. Thank you.
Thank you very much with that. If there's not another public hearing comment, we can definitely close the public hearing right now at 7:04. All righty, we'll go ahead and move on. Consent agenda items, we have a total of 8. Is there any that the council would like to set aside, or is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to pass all 8 consent agenda items.
Motion made
I'll second.
and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. All right, action item number 1, consideration action to approve an appeal on the Planning and Zoning Commission's denial for a variance of the length of the cul-de-sac within the proposed Falcon Landing subdivision exceeding required maximum length of 600 feet. Now, I know we've heard several comments, is there anything that the board would like to say? If not, if there's a motion to be made. I'm sorry, yeah, so my apologies, I forgot since y'all spoke. At this time, I did have one from Ms. Bebon. Would you like to speak at this time? Because it does say on the agenda, okay. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, you have your visitor's remark.
Actually, my biggest concern isn't the variance. My concern is, and I want you to remember, is that Henderson Road, how are so many people going to be able to exit safely? And hopefully in the future, there won't be accidents because there wasn't planning as far as the traffic on Henderson Road. I drive that road every day. And so I'm just very concerned about that. And safety is an issue there, a big issue for the city of Los Fresnos. Also, I'm hoping that homes are comparable to the other area, to South Cuates and North Cuates. Also remember that when it rains, and I've gone through that road, there's a lot of flooding in that area. So I don't know where the water is going to drain. Hopefully it's not going to drain to the side, where would it be? The north side? Because some of those homes flood. And so those are all, no, what side is it? Where the
No homes have flooded.
Yes, they have, sir. I have been there, sir. I'm sorry, but they have. The last rain, it wasn't the last one, but it has. Right where the railroad track is and those homes there, yes, sir, they have. You're telling me what I'm seeing is wrong? I don't think so.
Water got in those homes. Yards have flooded in that homes. No water got in them. It's a situation that needs to be addressed.
Okay, forget it. Okay, fine. I know what I saw. I'm just saying that for future, for the board, for the commission, to really think about the people that live in those areas and that have to exit. I know that we need to have revenue for Los Fresnos, and I'm all for that, but at the same time, safety is important for those people that live there already. And so you're talking about families, children going to school, people having to go to work. And so I'm just saying that that should be, I think, one of the reasons that we have to be careful as to what is approved in that area. Because I'm all for revenue. I'm all for Los Fresnos becoming a prosperous city, and that's what we moved here. But at the same time, safety for that road is very important. I live there. I drive that street every day. And for me, I'm retired. But for young couples that are going to buy in that area and are going to have to travel, hopefully the city of Los Fresnos is going to take care of that. And I'm talking about Henderson Road. I'm not talking about the subdivision. I'm talking about all those people having to drive that road once that subdivision is built. And believe me, if something is to happen, it's going to be the city of Los Fresnos that's going to pay dearly. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. At this time, Mr. James Keeler, you do have a visitor's remark.
Thank you. I want to begin by saying cities don't just happen. It takes work. It takes people to do risk. It takes people to create growth and prosperity. We had a wonderful city, and I've seen the ebb and flow. And by 2000, 15 years after I got off the council, our city was near financial collapse. And you have to work hard to keep a city progressing and bringing in the revenue to do the things that you need to do. I want to begin by saying the answer of what should be out there was determined in 1974. This map shows not only the area in question here, the original Cuates, this land, and this land over here, South Cuates is over here. This was Henry Makeham's farm. He had grows out there. He had a dream to make a subdivision. He even brought Arnold Palmer down here, see if he could help him with a small 9-hole golf course. It didn't happen to fruition. Henry Makeham at that time went to the city and he borrowed $750,000. That's like $7 million today. And he brought the infrastructure, the biggest line we had in the city, water lines. He built a lift station for 450 homes. It was a planned Cuates community. The bottom line is so much was put in infrastructure, he wasn't able to create enough homes to make his payments. It was maybe 20 years early, but before its time. And eventually Henry lost his land. He was a school board member. He was a farmer. He had a citrus packing plant, and his wife had a gift shop. And their lives changed trying to build a beautiful Los Frailes. Henry Makeham's dream is possible today. This subdivision complements, it doesn't detract, it complements what Henry Makeham brought to Los Frailes. When we started that subdivision, Henry, I, and 3 other people built the first 2 homes there. We didn't even have a road. We had a caliche road, and the county said, we won't put a road till you make the subdivision and get some homes sold. And we took that gamble. And now we have Cuates. But it didn't continue. And the last 40 years, the people that acquired the land never developed it. We have the opportunity to fulfill this dream and make Los Frailes what it could have been and should have been. Do you create an expressway before you have a subdivision? Absolutely not. But this developer has done much for this town already. When they first came to me, I looked at the plat and said, we need bigger lots. And they accommodated bigger lots. I said, we have a problem. We have flooding, and you're right, but it has not. It was 2 to 3 inches from going into a home. And here's a picture of it. All of you can see. This is taken. The front porch of one of those houses is flooded, and it came that close to coming in. The problem is the water drained to the north on Henderson.
Sir, I'm sorry, but the people online won't be able to.
It drained to the north. There you go. On Henderson Road. The bottom line, the first thing I said to Mr. Floodman, I said, we got to take care of something that the city should have been doing for the last 10 years. And you've got to take that water and move it south. He designed a subdivision to take care of our flooding problem on Henderson Road, so it won't happen, and those 9 houses are protected. He also is contributing to the expansion of a lift station on the east side along Paredes Line. They also include 3 parks. And we're bickering about the length of 3 streets. This is an unbelievable package for Los Frailes. And the way to solve Henderson Road is to get the tax money. This subdivision can generate $450,000 to $500,000 in tax revenue each year. Redoing Henderson Road, making it wider and building a shoulder is $1.5 million plus project. 3 years of tax revenue, we take care of that. We also, those of you that live at Cuates, we've had Henry put in a good street. It's 51 years and it hasn't been touched. But it's got to be resurfaced soon. That's a $200,000 project. This is what we need to protect that street and not let it decay to where it has to be rebuilt for $1 million. You don't get better projects in this. And it's time to get off our high horse and realize what we have in front of us. Not too long ago, we had a subdivision, apartments that were going to come in.
I'm sorry, Mr. Keeler, your time has expired.
I'll be happy to come back another day. Thank you.
We appreciate that so much. And at this time, we
Let's
have...
give him the variance he needs.
Yeah, we got one last visitor's remarks coming from Dave Floodman. You did submit yours, so would you like to speak now?
Maybe I can just address questions.
Just to explain that when I do purchase a piece of property, there's a lot of considerations on that. one of them is the size of the community that I'm gonna put on that road, and I'm well aware of the traffic loads on that. Looking into this property, the road out in front is actually a minor arterial. And we did generate some, we did look into what the capacities were for a minor arterial. Basically, what were we at, 14,000 cars a day? Yeah, so we're well below that with the traffic existing there. Our load, again, probably isn't going to be a lot of young families. It's going to be older professionals or retirees. So I think the load and the safety considerations have been met. They've been examined by everybody, all the departments within the city. You know, fire department has signed off on everything, and everybody assures me that this design is safe and practical. That's, oh, and the flooding. So what Mr. Keeler started to explain was that, yeah, there was water coming off that field that affected those houses and got them close to flooding. What we've designed, everything that, all the rainfall that hits the site will drain to that central area there, which we're actually turning that into like a dual purpose. It'll be a private wildlife refuge for us. You know, it'll be a park that will have some nice places to gather and everything. And we want to really cooperate with the environment, take advantage of it. You know, it's a beautiful spot. There's all kinds of birds and everything else. I've got one of the leading wildlife experts in the valley that's going to come and be one of our consultants to really design that. So all of the water is captured there. It's all discharged safely. We actually had to raise that northeast corner of the site and drain everything that way. And we're going to improve along the road with the borrow ditch so that, you know, I've assured the people across the street that we're taking care of them. And, you know, we want to improve all of that along the road. So. Thank you.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much, Mr. Floodman, for those words. And we'll go ahead and, as I read the action item number 1, is there questions, comments, or a motion to be made?
Yes, I have a question. Obviously, full disclosure, I do live on Alvarez Court, and I do live on one of those exempted or varianced cul-de-sacs, 1,800 feet. I love my cul-de-sacs, guys. I can turn a 20-foot trailer whenever I'm helping moving things around. I think a smaller cul-de-sac would actually make it more difficult for fire and EMS and any other services that are going around there. Looking at the plat myself, making it smaller would actually misshape properties more as well, so I can see where the engineer was trying to use as much up. So while some was 600 and the other one was 1,000, I believe the largest. I think in terms of the planning, they've done a really good job to make sure the lots fit. Sometimes cul-de-sacs, in my personal experience through construction, they're not put in place to make more houses fit, more so that it just fits the plat of the land. And from looking and reading that we received in the agendas, I think this is, it was very suitable in terms of having those 3 cul-de-sacs. It also helps with traffic to come through less. Living on the cul-de-sac, you really don't go down the road unless you have a reason to go down the road, which is pretty much living there. So we pretty much know everybody in every car that goes through that because we don't have through traffic. Obviously, here I am. I am for giving the variance to this development. I am happy that they're looking into Los Fresnos and to continue. I'm a little confused on why the zoning declined the variance, since there have already been exceptions made 3 other times within the city. But that's something that the zoning has its rights to do, and that's why we're here discussing it today.
Thank you very much for that. And yeah, I mean, I even live right here. I'm not sure what the variances are on Feather Ridge, but there's 1, 2, 3, there's several different cul-de-sacs there. And it's true, only the cars that are going to those homes are the ones that are driving there. And we love it that we don't have a lot of flow through traffic. So Again, that's all I really wanted to say about that. Any questions, comments, or motion?
Yeah. Yeah, I reviewed the plannings, I reviewed the other zones that were exempted or changed. And I do understand what you're talking about, traffic, but in this meeting, we're talking about the variances. And our job is to go by what we're being told right now. And based on the variances, I don't see why we shouldn't approve this. I understand the future, as they're coming in with the planning or the subdivision and everything, that's something else that we need to look at the future. Right now, on the variances, I don't see why planning and zoning did that. I do believe that those changes can benefit the subdivision being built in that section. So my comment is just that I will look into everything else that happens, but for right now, we're looking at only the variance in this meeting. So that's what we're voting on, the variance only, and then maybe later on look at something else. But right
For the
now,
concerns that they've made.
But then again, that goes to the Planning and Zoning Committee. It doesn't come, yeah. Commissioner, yeah, go ahead.
I'll go ahead and make.
That's all right, Howard. Yeah, so I just wanted to make a couple comments here. So I understand that there have been some variances in the past for different properties. Looking at those properties, I will say that I do believe it's a very apples to oranges comparison, just because a lot of those properties are they're all confined at least to one side by a waterway, and they're all one street. Like there's not another street to connect to make, a loop or whatever that you need to make so that you would not have a cul-de-sac in those places. On the point of through traffic, I guess you might have a little bit more traffic, but I would say that this is a gated community, so I just don't really see the through traffic being as big of an issue with not having cul-de-sacs than you would as what I would call an open community, where just anyone can drive in. With the fact that it's being gated, I'm just not really sure that's as a valid point as it is for an open community. And the other point that I wanted to make was I'm really big into public safety, and I am pleased to hear the size of the roads. I had a question about that. So 36 feet, great. I saw the 60-foot right away, but I just wasn't quite sure what the size of the street was. However, just thinking about taking an emergency vehicle down those streets with that many homes on a street and potential for, I guess I have a question around street parking too. I've gone down streets. I've driven a fire truck down streets where there's parking in the street, and it is difficult, incredibly difficult when you have cars on both sides of the street. You're trying to get down it. Even at 36 feet, it's going to be kind of difficult. And the issue isn't necessarily getting down there. The issue is if you have some type of situation where you need a different truck or more trucks, getting them in and around is where the concern is going to be. And I'm thinking in a fire situation. So those are kind of the comments that I just wanted to make. And just in general, I'm a little hesitant to go against an appointed committee after a decision that they've made.
All righty, any other comments, questions, or is there a motion to be made?
I'll just make a comment, because you're right, 600 is a very small turnaround especially for EMS. So I don't know if in the future we may even discuss enlarging the ordinance itself, because I don't think 600 feet for the communities we're trying to build are big enough anymore.
All righty, so it was a comment, and is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to pass the variance.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. All right, motion carries. All right, moving on to action item number 2, consideration and action to enter into an estoppel agreement for TERS number 2.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that's the same thing that we did in the earlier meeting, so I think y'all understood that. We just needed to vote for it in the TERS and then the city as well.
Any comments, questions, or motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion
Second.
made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same.
Leo.
Motion carries. All right, action item number 3 reads, consideration and action to approve the First Amendment to the development agreement by and between City of Los Fresnos Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 2, City of Los Fresnos, and GF Development of Los Fresnos LLC.
Once again, that was talked about in the TERS meeting. It changes the contract from a partnership with the gentleman, the developers, to an LLC is all it changes.
All right, any questions, comments, or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Consideration and action to acknowledge the automatic resignation and holdover position for Gabriela Fernandez, council member, place 3. Mark?
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, this, according to law, we don't have to take this action because it's automatic, but I think it's good for the record so that later people go, what happened? And so this will be on the record that you're acknowledging what the state law is. You're not saying you agree with it, you don't agree with it, you're just acknowledging that this is what happens when this particular case. And so I thought it important that it be on the record, everybody knows, the public knows.
Any questions or comments? Or motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Consideration and action to approve the order of election and notice of election for the January 27th, 2026 city special election and authorize the city secretary to make necessary changes in locations, days, and dates and times that may be ordered by the governor or the Cameron County Elections Office.
This is very difficult, and kudos to Jackie for, it's very difficult because by state law, it says the election has to be held within 120 days. It also says it can't be included in 30 days before a primary election or 30 days after a primary election. Y'all know we have a March 3rd primary election, so that you can't do it till 30 days after that, which puts April, which is more than 120 days. So you have to go forward 30 days, which puts it about February into January. So we really had to work through all that. So there was 2 dates that the elections office thought that we could do, is Tuesday, January 27th, and also Saturday, whatever that Saturday is. But they preferred the Tuesday because normally election's Tuesday, and it's a little bit cheaper because of hours, but not a lot. So that's kind of why that was chosen. We didn't arbitrarily do it. We have to fit it in within the state law.
All right, any questions, comments, or another motion?
So it's not going to be tied into county, that's correct, right?
Correct.
Because it's too far away.
And you legally, you can't put it in the primary. We wanted to, because then we could share in the cost, but
So from today, how many days does that give anybody who decides to run?
$18th.
10 days.
9 days.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I was just trying to understand how that working for you guys.
It's gonna be a shotgun election. It's gonna be a shotgun election.
They're just,
Unexpired, okay. Okay.
This will expire,
2 years?
2 years, right? November 27.
2027.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Awesome. Okay. Any questions, comments, or motion to be made?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. All those who oppose, do the same. Who, Leo, that's right. Yeah, no, Leo sneaks in there, right?
I just sneak in there when I can. It changed.
Consideration and action to approve a contract with Cameron County Elections Administration to conduct the early voting and election day voting for January 27, 2026, city special election. This is a continuation for the other one. Motion or comments?
Make a motion.
Okay, motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Consideration and action on the selection of mayor pro tem for a one-year term.
I have to say that I messed up and I put Albert there, but I think Gabby's the mayor pro tem, so.
So whoever gets it continues it, or? do we-
I will recommend for Councilman Albert to be pro tem for the next following year.
I'll second.
All right.
A motion.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
All those who oppose do the same. All right, Albert, get ready. Consideration and action to appoint a member to the Park Advisory Board. Park Advisory Board, Mark. Do we have anybody? So if you guys want to think about somebody who would like to be on the Park Advisory Board,
Do we need one, or is there somebody
no,
there?
we don't have to make a motion, just I guess bring it to our attention, we'll table it. And if you guys come up with some people, have them come and see secretary to get an application.
Yeah,
That's right. Do we need?
the Park Advisory Board meeting meets only as needed, so most of the things that deal with that, the Economic Development Corporation, CDC, handles, but we have it, so we have one member missing.
Okay, so again, if you guys know anybody, now's the time to ask them about this, so we'll go ahead and make no action, since we don't have any applicants at this time to consider. And so we'll move on to action item number 9, discussion and review of applications received for upcoming vacancies and current members in the following boards and positions: Los Fresnos CDC, Place 1, Enrique Juarez; Place 2, Pedro Maldonado; Place 5, Gordon Capon; and Place 6, Claudia M. Villarreal.
This is not an action item, but y'all have asked that the meeting before, we put it on to discuss, so that it is in, we've kind of reviewed it, and you have a month to consider. Fortunately, all 4 of these would like to continue to serve, and all 4 of them are very active in the Community Development Corporation, attend meetings and do a very good job. They all bring a little bit different expertise in from their experience and their background, so I think it's good to keep them, but that's your decision at the next meeting to either appoint these, one or more of them, or appoint somebody else.
So they've all said that they want to continue.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Any other discussion or questions that anybody would like to pose at this time in regards to this action item? No, I guess no action taken, so we'll just go ahead and move forward and go to action item number 10, which is consideration and action to choose an individual for the 2025 Citizen of the Year program. Mark?
That's yours.
Yep, I guess, guys, you guys come up with some names.
There's some names.
Go ahead and,
Package.
okay, anybody, any names that you would like to consider at this time?
I would like to consider Daniel Avila.
Okay, Daniel Avila.
Me too.
Okay, so motion made, motion seconded. I mean, Daniel Avila, I guess names. Yeah, well, they're discussing, so he likes Avila, he likes Avila. I like Avila for the fact that when that child died, he went ahead and did a really nice fundraiser. That was really nice for the community. He's also time and effort in donating to the Austin floods, which was incredible. Not to mention, anytime there's any baseball game or football game or something, he's always out there participating, taking food. And I'm always asking him the question, man, how do you make money? Because he's pretty much giving things away. So, the guy really wears his heart in his sleeve.
And there was another event where I think SNAP was being, underfunded, and he was giving out free brisket sandwiches all day long to the public.
yeah.
It didn't matter who you were, just
Yeah.
come and grab one, And like you said, he's everywhere.
Also, and I want to emphasize why why am I voting for this? Is this Citizen of the Year was created, I guess, before me came in for the Citizen of the Year for this past year of what they've done. It is not considered somebody that has been doing good throughout the years. It's just considering this year's contributions to the community. Is that correct?
I mean, it makes sense.
I don't think that's correct, but I can see it how if we want to interpret it that way from here to the future, I don't have a problem with that. The only thing is there really wasn't there's nothing set in stone on what exactly. So if we want to recommend Citizen of the Year per se just for this past year, we need to inform the public that that's what we're gonna do and that's what we're doing. I'm trying not to discriminate, I guess is not as too strong of a word to say, but there's a lot of people who have given their time and effort to Los Fresnos many years ago, right, that are seniors, who cannot give that time that they used to do back when they were younger and healthier. And that's the issue that I have if we're gonna lock it into per year, then we pretty much just locked out everybody else who has given their time and effort to help this city way before we were even here.
I think because it can be defined either his way or your way, but at the end of the day, there's 6 of us up here that are mentioning names, and the one that brings the most names,
yeah,
I
but
think
we're
is gonna be the one that
discussing-
we've identified. But they're both valid points because there's a lot of older people in our community that have done so much. But this young man, for being young, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't see young people doing the type of things this guy does, and it's always it's fun to watch.
I don't have a problem with Mr. Avila. I've, like I said, I know him and know the work that he's done. My issue is I'll try to be too careful myself to want to word it like that.
Yeah, and I think that's why I mentioned it, because it's good that we started this, or whoever started this project, or Citizen of the Year, but I think it's better for us to have some rules about it. That way we all know what we're voting for. And if we have other recognitions like what you mentioned, then maybe we should have a Citizen of the Year for this year plus a.
That's what I was gonna say.
How about like a Hall of Fame community citizen?
You said it, not me.
The title says Citizen of the Year.
Jackie looking at me right in my face. That's just one more thing
But
we
it's
would
true.
be throwing
Like,
on her.
Hall of Fame, citizen, community.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I
get it.
I don't see why we should discriminate, like you said, or whatever. But I'm basing it on Citizen of the Year, and to me, Citizen of the Year this year was this person that I'm voting for.
Yeah.
But
and there's others that we
and there's
see that are
others.
doing
I mean,
doing stuff in our community that are
I've
getting
seen-
inspired. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people that are really good at it.
During the flooding, there was people stepping up, doing things. So
I've
we
seen
are
some
seeing a
people.
movement of
So
more
I
community.
just want to see some
So,
rule
I'll agree,
something
I'll
that we
agree. I think, most of us are in concurrent. I'm not sure, I'm not voting, I'm not putting anybody's vote in. But, Mr. Avila seems to be a very, helpful person for our community. And then I guess throughout this year, or if it's gonna be 2 awards now, or if it's gonna, let's get this figured out by next year, if we can.
Yeah, but even then, every year we have somebody new to name and we can always rediscuss it and we have so many different names, but we definitely, he has a point, you have a point. We can sit here, go back and forth, but yeah.
So go ahead, Mark.
I'll just, if you'll recall, when this was brought up, those of you who are here, I said, you need to make some rules. And it was said they didn't want to, and I kind of like that because it doesn't put you in a box that we have to do a one that's this year, or we can't do one that has a lifetime achievement, like he whispered to me, lifetime achievement. So I don't think you have to go to 2. I think you can still do 1. And 1 year is a guy's going to stand out because of what he did this year. And then next year, there's not going to be a guy that stands out and you go to the lifetime achievement, but it gives you the flexibility to go where that person's name takes you. And that's kind of what y'all said 4 years ago when we started this. So I'm just kind of repeating what y'all said then. And I think it made sense, even though I didn't agree with it at the time.
I nominate Mark Milam. So Daniel Avila. Any other thoughts from some of the other councilmen, men and women that are in here? Daniel, and Gabi, you're the last.
Yes.
Daniel. So we're all in agreement? Okay, want to motion that?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Daniel Avila, for the great work you've done this year. So moving on
Mayor.
to, Jackie will notify him. Moving on to acknowledgement of city managers' reports. Mark.
I don't have anything to say except since drainage is on here, I am going to address the drainage that was brought up because there are some things that are said that are just false, and I have to say it.
Now, quick question on that, Mark. Did that happen after they cleared the land behind them, or I know it happened 2 years ago, or I think the picture was.
Yeah. That's what I was going to address. That area on the north side of Henderson Road drains north into Cameron County Drainage District number 4. Historically, they have done nothing, and that's why all of the Orellis floods, and there's been problems for years and years. They have now begun to do things. Because of that incident, we pushed so hard for just north of there as it goes underneath there. If you go back behind that property, there's an irrigation canal, and there's a drainage that drains that area underneath that irrigation canal and drains it to the north past Stanford Road, and then ends up in the wildlife refuge. It ends up in the arroyo. That drainage underneath the irrigation canal was collapsed. When US collapsed, it was irrigation districts and the drainage districts, and we had been on them for years and years and years. When that rain happened, came close to flooding homes, they finally did it and fixed it. The rain since then have not even come anywhere near that. So while it's important, but they're blaming now this other development in the development on the north side for that had nothing to do with it. It simply had to do with that drainage. That was fixed, as well as they increased the drainage size from that underneath that irrigation canal to the north. There was Mr. Peterson put a development in on Stanford Road, and so there was a lot of improvements made there. So what they're saying is not as a result of that. It was a result of the drainage district. Also, when we were getting Valencia, the planning, our engineer was here tonight. They were very good about working drainage so that it drains it the way it's supposed to go. In addition, there was some, now you move to the south side, and there was water that drained and collected there on the south side and filled up that whole field. If you went over there, it filled it up. What happened is a few years ago, the farmer re-sloped the land, and so the water, instead of going south to the Resaca, went north to the borrow ditch there along Henderson Road. It never crossed. It got close, never crossed. So that water did not affect the people on the north side. Mr. Keeler, yes, he was up in arms about us doing something. I knew development was coming. I said, why would the city spend all of this money to do this drainage whenever it's not affecting the road, it's not affecting those homes? Let the developer pay for that as the developer comes. So our engineers, our staff has been in with his development to drain that properly where it's going to come at the end of his subdivision on the east side, closer to the railroad, and then it drains all back to the south. And so that issue that Mr. Keeler was talking about recently will all be resolved too. So I just needed for you to know that it wasn't what was said here. And I can take you to Drainage District number 4 with that. I can take you to our engineers, both developers, Valencia on the north side, Floodman on the south side, and what we've made them do as far as helping so that those other homes don't get drained. So it is.
So we're taking precautions.
A big issue that we have resolved and done it fiscally responsibly and let the developer take care of it.
Thank you for that. And they're paying for all that. And I know the concern was the flooding, and it seems like we're doing proper steps to take care of all those.
And it's not on the agenda, so I won't mention, but there will be more to come on Henderson. I got a lot of information for you in the future, but today wasn't the day.
Okay.
If you want to know it before then, I'll be glad to share it with you.
All right. Any other updates, or is that any other questions, comments, anything anybody would like to talk about? If not, there's a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the acknowledgement of the city manager's report.
Okay. Motion made
I'll second.
and second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All those who don't? No. Motion carries. So right now, the last one is acknowledgement of department reports. Anybody comments, questions for Mark about any of the department head reports? Fire department, library, police department?
I got one question, Mark, and I should have brought it up last meeting because I think it happened almost 2 months ago. But I remember over Subway where we usually put where the rodeo banners gets put up, those poles were moving and one violent windstorm that we had. And I just want to know if it got secured, taken care of. I know PD had a cop there and we're trying to make sure. I think we had the Conjunto sign up, and that's kind of what was flapping around, just so that way PD doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
So Guy Wires and AEP said they would handle it.
Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, if anybody wants to motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion is made and seconded. All those in
Second.
favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. The time is 7:49. Meeting adjourned.